Yes, our thousands of instantaneous viewers.
There we go! Hello and welcome! I'm Jay Kyle. Joined with me here today is Kent Blacker, Irving Favorman, and Stephen Buddy. We are going to be talking about World of Warcraft Legion, the newest expansion for Blizzard's MMO giant here. And let me just say, the electricity was palpable as I was watching that. It was fantastic. Absolutely loved it. So, gentlemen, tell me, first thoughts. First we saw a short cinematic. Let's talk about that first. Blizzard hasn't really done that before. What are your thoughts on that, Kent?
This is the first time that I've seen like not the cinematic trailer, just like the feature trailer or whatever. So I mean, it listed all the things. Like I was really, at first I thought it was Illidan's voice, so I was just like, oh my gosh, Illidan, but no, it wasn't. It was just Khadgar. But I don't know. I didn't really watch the stream. I just kind of caught it on Twitter afterwards.
Ah, that's right. So at the very beginning, they showed a short cinematic where Gul'dan discovers Illidan encased in a crystal. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but Blizzard has never done a high-quality cinematic such as that, where it was just a small clip, like a small connecting
like
reveal.
The 30-second bridge. No, I don't think they have. I think that they're only big cinematics, or I can think of the "You Are Not Prepared" Illidan one. There's the Arthas, my son.
Yep.
Intro for Wrath of the Lich King. Warlords, obviously. 1 second.
And then
the thing with the that 30-second clip though was just that it was just a clip, just a preview of part of a cinematic that's going to come later to bridge the gap between Warlords.
That's a very good point. Yeah, I didn't think about
that was just like a teaser trailer, really.
Yeah, and it was very beautiful. I mean, Illidan was instantly recognizable with his chest tattoos and his top knot.
The chest tattoos were awesome.
Yes, it was fantastic.
They lit up.
Yep.
I want chest tattoos.
Very, very excited. Now, Stephen, seeing Illidan, seeing Gul'dan, what was your first thought? You know, we don't know what the expansion is quite yet. Seeing this reveal, you see Illidan though. You know Gul'dan's gonna have a part of it because they mentioned that beforehand. But what was your first thought when you saw Illidan as far as what to expect for the new expansion?
Back to the Burning Crusades we go, but I can't wait. I enjoyed Burning Crusades as an old player, and I can't wait to explore it again. Right, I think it's going to offer a lot.
Yes,
Anyway.
Oh, you know what? And that was one of the big complaints that people constantly talk about. I see on the World of Warcraft forums, in-game, is people talk about the glory days of Wrath, the glory days of Burning Crusade, and the last two expansions, they've given us as players new content, new lore, which, as a lore enthusiast, I have absolutely enjoyed. I have enjoyed going to these continents and seeing the Asian influence of Pandaria, seeing the just very rugged and the Iron Horde, and reliving that storyline. But to be frank, nothing will ever get back to Wrath.
The problem with Warlord's storyline in general is its alternative universe. So we don't our Kargath Bladefist we killed in Hellfire Citadel. Our Blackhand was killed by the Doomhammer. We don't care about anything in WoD story-wise.
Yeah.
And, I play it for the gameplay. I like the raids. The raids have been absolutely fantastic. But the story, I'm not at all interested. It's not not when I go up to kill Arthas, I'm like, holy shit, this is the Lich King. This is Arthas Menethil.
Yeah.
This is going to be awesome.
Yeah, exactly.
No, I don't give a damn about the lore.
Well, on that point, though, with the Wrath of the Lich King, where we killed Arthas, we had been waiting for that for years at that point, because we had the Warcraft 3 and everything, but I don't know of any other lore where we could have that much, where we're just like, oh my gosh, we're gonna go kill this guy now because we've been waiting to kill him for forever. So everyone brings that point up, and I'm just like, well, yes, we did that. That was awesome. But it's not going to happen again. I mean, you keep asking for it. People keep asking for it, but it's not going to.
I would go ahead and argue and say that they have done exactly that by bringing back Illidan and bringing back the Burning Crusade. Now,
are we going to kill Illidan though, or are we going to? Are we just going to team up?
He'll be the good guy.
That's my theory. I'm of the opinion that Illidan is reformed. That he's realized, these guys with eye level 200 gear could kill me, and now we're at what, 700?
Yeah.
I think he'll realize we're the powerhouse, right?
my opinion on that is, okay, so we see Gul'dan. Like, Gul'dan is obviously the one freeing Illidan, right?
Right.
I feel like he's going to use Illidan for something. I don't know what. We don't know what. Obviously, he's going to use Illidan for, but he's, you know, it's said, they talked about a little bit of the raid storyline for Suramar, which is the second. It's the Blackrock Foundry type raid. It's the second one we get. And he is trying to create a Nightwell, which is this, like, perverted opposite of the Well of Eternity. Illidan has created the Well of Eternity before. He knows how to do that. I feel like they're going to use Illidan for that, and part of that raid will be freeing Illidan. So I think that's when we'll see him kind
But
of
that's also where the point where Illidan could be a villain could be made, because Illidan just practically destroyed Azeroth because he wanted to keep his magic power. The thought of losing the Night Elf magic was so important to him that he betrayed his brother, earning himself the title of betrayer. So it is plausible that making this well of power is within his scheming, on his agenda.
Yeah, I guess. Like, we'll see where they take the story, and that's what I'm really interested
Yes, it'll be very fascinating. So, obviously, there's going to be new raids, new bosses, new encounters. We'll learn more about that as it goes along. But the big thing on everyone's mind, the biggest part of the announcements, well, I don't know. It's kind of hard to name a biggest, but I'd say one of the big two is, let's start with the hero class, the Demon Hunter. People have been begging for this class since Burning Crusade, and it's finally here. We're getting a tanking spec, we're getting a DPS spec, no third spec. They're not doing a rogue. They're not doing a Death Knight or Warrior like all the other ones.
Good.
Yeah. Overall,
I'm
I've seen the reaction
that.
is good. What do you guys think? Steven, what was your first thoughts upon seeing the not the Death Knight, the Demon Hunter as a new hero class?
I thought they'd look great. Keeping them only 2 is going to be really enjoyable, right? Because it'll be to give you that diversification. However, I mean, it's not as expansive as Death Knights were. Right. I'm really looking forward to it. I think they're going to bring a lot to the table, and like most new things they've introduced, it will change everything about the game to make people have to relearn how to incorporate, work with, work against. Right. I can't wait to see them on the battlefield, like in PvP, and what they bring.
PvP is a huge aspect because that's adding a whole nother class and a whole nother style of gameplay to balance, along with the hodgepodge of classes and specs that they already have to balance. So that will definitely.
On the subject of balance, though, separate PvP talent trees, thank God.
Yes, so that is going to help with that a ton.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Finally, now, Blizzard has shown us that they can balance a game with numerous different heroes. They've done Heroes of the Storm, and to a degree, they've done a pretty good job on it. They also have a lot of experience looking to other MOBA-style games, balancing these massive champion and hero pools. So World of Warcraft should have no trouble maintaining that level of balance. StarCraft is a great example where Blizzard knows how to make sure gameplay is fair and that there is counterplay and all those things. However, with the addition of the Demon Hunter, that's going to add another set of, I don't want to say mechanics, but we have a lot of different specs. That we have combat. We have got 3 different rogues already. We've got 2 DPS warrior specs that already play. You know, they have to diversify those specs as well. How are they going to add another dual-wielding melee class and make it different?
Just abilities. Like, you already see, like, there's the Fell flavor. They have a lot more ranged than any of the other melee classes, I think, at least. Like, warriors have heroic throw. I don't think rogues have anything anymore. I mean, since they took out ranged weapons from those classes.
Yes.
I think rogue still has like throw dagger, but it's.
Oh yeah, and then there's
like a pull,
Shuriken Toss.
Yeah,
Shuriken
Shuriken Toss. Yeah, and I believe there's a rogue talent which is a ranged interrupt that you can grab, but nothing DPS oriented, nothing with the intent to do damage. And in the short gameplay video that we saw with the Demon Hunter pulling those mobs, and he was bouncing back and forth, he was using his laser eyes. It was a substantial source of damage. Now,
I
go
want
ahead.
the dash. Blade dash looks fantastic.
It
Also,
does. Yeah.
on the subject of PvP mechanics, is the double jump, which
That'll be
I think that
crazy.
the double jump was over the top and not needed. And
I'm inclined to agree with you on that one as well. The double
But
jump
in
is
PvP,
definitely.
It's like, does it count enough to bring you out of combat? Like, I mean, obviously not instantly drop you from combat, but will they be able to hit you unless they're ranged? Or, you know, how is that going to function?
That's true.
Are they going to be able to jump up to places in the arenas that weren't intended to be jumped up onto?
Yep, they are going to have to relook at all of the
sure.
arenas and make sure that. I'm sure in the beta test there will be people who literally spend hours double jumping against every feasible.
figuring out they can. Yeah.
Every
Yep.
single surface to
Exactly.
double jump. Absolutely.
I think I heard more applause for the double jump when they announced that than any other feature. They're just like, you can use the Doom Hammer, and they're like, yay, double jump.
I have a feeling it's going to be limited, kind of like a blink or something. So your double jump will be effective, but it's not going to get you out of combat. You can use it, right? But it'd be on par with a blink. I mean, it can't take you.
So it would have like a. So are you saying it would have like a cooldown on it, like a 10-second cooldown on the double jump?
No. You'd be blink like a double blink type thing, right? It won't be 40. I don't think it's 40. 40 yards away from your target, so it'll be 2 jumps over 40 yards, right? So hunters can still pick you off, but I don't.
Oh, I see.
I don't think they're going to give it the distance that you can engage, hack, and
Yeah, that makes sense.
hopefully, right? But it's Blizzard, right? And I don't think you can jump to the. If you can double jump up, will it give you the ability to jump to the top level of your graveyard, right?
Or to be able to. Now, the Blizzard could design it to where certain aspects are double jumpable if you wanted to get up to like a higher tier of the platform without walking around, but that would be a substantial impact on balance.
That'd be way overpowered.
And then that's another fear. PvE side is you can't jump over anything on the ground. It's like, oh, there's that patch of fire. I'm gonna try to jump over it the first time I'm in that fight.
Yep,
for sure.
Yep.
But I mean, will a demon hunter be able to double jump and get over the line of fire?
It definitely looked like the double jump was more of a height increase rather than like a ranged distance increase.
Well, yeah, but even like when you jump over a ground effect and you clearly clear it, it'll still oftentimes deal damage to you or apply its dot or whatever it is.
I see what you mean. Yeah.
So
that'll be interesting. Again, we're talking about the double jump when there's so many new features. I looked at the weapon list, and my first thought was like, well, this is going to be a pretty limited class in that. But yeah, they can use normal maces, daggers, swords, basically the rogue weapon list.
That's what you're talking about.
Yeah, exactly. So it's
all one-handed weapons.
Yep.
But I mean, what weapons you can use don't matter anymore.
Yeah.
That's very true.
Like, no, weapon, like, I'm calling this right now, weapon drops aren't going to be a thing further on. You're just going to have your artifact weapon, and you're going to increase its power through some way, and I'm completely fine with that.
Yeah, that's another thing. Now, we're going to cover real quick. We have one of the viewers that asked our thoughts on the new expansion versus the decline in players. How it's going to affect it. Do you think this expansion going back to World of Warcraft roots, going back to a favorite expansion, and containing many of the features that we loved in Wrath of the Lich King, is this going to help World of Warcraft's numbers, or is this going to stay the same, hurt it?
It'll stay the same. I mean, I don't really think Warcraft is declining. It's been a steady balance of players. Yeah, people leave, they try new things, but I mean, it's the go-to game for any MMO that's out there. I mean, any player, if they go back to that style of game, pretty much go back to, even to try out the expansion. They'll spend the money, they will try out the expansion and decide from there if they enjoy it, and then how long they're going to play it.
Yep.
I don't think they're not going to jump back to 12 million players like Lich King had, or 10 to 12 million.
Yeah.
And then stay there, right?
Well,
I don't think that's going to happen. It'll balance back out.
And to add to your point, the time of the MMOs is over. MMOs in general have been on a decline. And while World of Warcraft has steadily gone down since, Wrath of the Lich King, no one has taken its place. No one has steadily gone up since there either. New players have come out.
The point is like there are a lot of other MMOs out there, but really World of Warcraft is 5 times as big as
any
the
of
biggest
them.
MMO.
That's
so,
exactly right.
5 times is better.
Yes.
It
that's
is,
exactly
right? I mean, it's the flagship character, and it's the, many have come, many have gone.
Some people like other ones.
And I did some asking about some other MMOs. I talked to some players who did a lot of Final Fantasy XIV, and I myself has done a lot of Guild Wars, and Star Wars: The Old Republic. They all have a lot of their really good features, but I mean, like you said, World of Warcraft is the flagship. It's the all-encompassing. It's got most. Now, there's no perfect MMO for anyone. Even myself, I go back and forth from World of Warcraft because I get bored with the content, or I don't like the way that they did fishing this last expansion. Different things, and so you bounce around. But overall, it retains most of what MMO players enjoy. So let's take this opportunity to move to the next area. Artifact weapons. Irving brings up a really good point where weapon drops are going to be pointless. If you are wielding the Doom Hammer, there is zero chance that you will ever need to use another mace. It is just completely pointless.
Yeah, I'm not gonna pick up like, you know, whatever, you know, Joe Schmo's dildo forger and replace the Doom Hammer with it. Like, no, I'm gonna keep the freaking Doom Hammer because it's the Doom Hammer.
Yep.
More importantly, I'm gonna be playing, or I'm gonna be using the Ashburn, which is awesome. And
So did they detail
Maple Story
how
sucks.
did they detail how the system would work? And I know that you can like increase its power and do that other stuff, but like, is it gonna like increase in eye level like from here there on out? Are we not gonna?
They
get to
said
level
that the
10?
weapon will grow with you, so that leads me to believe it's going to be like unto our heirloom weapons, where you get it maybe 2 or 3 levels into the expansion as you're going through the starting areas, and then you kind of grow with it.
It's not as you get in, it's after the starting area.
It is after the starting
directly
area.
after the starting experience. They said that when they were talking about the Paladin one, you go and you pick up the Ashburner from where it fell in battle, and then the other ones,
Now, let's talk about that real quick. Let's talk
sword.
about picking up the Ashbringer, okay? Because that's not something you should ever say lightly.
Yeah.
All right.
No, I
this,
mean,
this is literally
Tyrion Fordring's probably dead.
Yeah, that's what I'm going to ask you now. They mentioned that a lot of these artifacts you are picking them off corpses, or they mentioned the warrior one where you go get the sword and board off of a fallen Vrykul. However, some of these, like Thrall's Doomhammer, okay, Thrall is a very important player in World of Warcraft. They did mention you pick them up from players or heroes who have died or have lost hope. All right.
Yeah, that's
now
we explicitly said ones.
Yes. So, however, when it comes to Tyrion Fordring, both of those are extremely.
Now, here's an idea, and just roll with it. So what if they don't kill off Thrall? What if he steps down as the world shaman or the head of the shaman, whatever, and now you as the personal shaman become what he was. You take his place.
I agree.
And that's how you get the Doomhammer. I don't know if they're gonna kill off Thrall. Maybe they will, but
now when it comes,
what do you guys think about that?
I would agree with you there.
Or like lore story reasons work either way.
But at the same time, Blizzard is not afraid to kill characters. I could see Thrall falling in battle. I could see Tyrion falling in battle. This is the Burning Legion. This is literally the greatest threat that Azeroth faces. We've got old gods, we've got cults, we've got all sorts of different things, but when it comes down to it, the Burning Legion is what really threatens Azeroth. Every time that they've come, we've had to sacrifice a extremely important part of our world just to fend them off. We've lost the Well of Eternity, we've lost the World Tree, or one of the many World Trees. The Night Elves in particular, they've lost their immortality just to get the Burning Legion to come back another day. All right, this is nothing to shake a stick at. So, seeing Tyrion Fordring die would not surprise me, but it would still hurt my heart.
Yeah, no, I'd hate to see that cutscene. If I saw it, I'd only watch it once, then I'd just skip it every other time.
Yeah.
I'd watch it every single time.
Exactly.
The raw feels. Raw feels. He stole my Lich King kill.
Exactly.
What about that Frostmourne? Speaking of the Lich King, the Death Knights can get Frostmourne. How many?
They get a reincarnation of Frostmourne.
They do not get Frostmourne. They forge the shards together to make 2 new swords. It's kind of like a sword from Lord of the Rings. You forge it out of the shards of the old one.
Exactly.
Right, but still, how many new Death Knights are we going to see? I mean, I saw many people on Twitter were like, "Oh, I'm going to power level my Death Knight right now."
Yep.
It's the Death Knights. It's all the same. They're all the like XX Death Frost Nightblood. Like it's just gonna be a lot more of those names with a lot more special characters.
Precisely.
My Death Knight's just Heron.
But to be fair, we've got I think we're gonna see an increase in shamans with the Doomhammer. That's substantial. The mages are getting some really cool stuff. Hunters are getting Sylvanas Windrunner's old bow back from when she was Ranger General. So
hand-me-downs for the win.
Yeah, exactly. I think there's going to be a lot of increase of weapons or new classes in general. I don't think any one in particular is going to outweigh the other because obviously we're going to see a lot of demon hunters. People have been waiting for this for eons.
Yeah, there's going to be it's going to be just like Wrath with Death Knights, and then also I think there'll be a decent amount of like people who go paladin to get the Ashbringer.
Yes,
I mean,
precisely.
I'm already a ret paladin, so
so you did it first
Lovely mine right now.
before it was cool. Exactly.
Because I haven't heard. Are they doing what they first did with the Death Knights, where you're only allowed one per server to account to start? Because I mean, I don't know if that's still in play. Actually, I haven't made a Death Knight in forever. I just leveled mine.
I haven't either, but
When it first came out, you were only allowed one on a server.
You can have 2 on a server.
I think what people are
Death Knights
more
right
concerned
now,
about,
or more,
rather than being able to have multiple of the hero class, is we've got 11 character slots. They gave us a new one when the monk came out. We can assume that they'll give us another character slot with the release of the Demon Hunter, but some people may have to make a difficult choice if they choose not to. So hopefully...
I'm fine.
I know you are. I have no interest in making a monk, personally, so that's what I'll be.
Oh, I love
And
mine.
Speaking of the Demon Hunter, though, and the hero class, what level do you guys think it's going to be whenever you get it? Do you think it's going to be a level 100, or do you think it's going to be like 95,
90.
or like
I'll go with
90?
90. He'll start with maybe Warlords, so you can do that area level.
My theory is 70, because that's when Burning Crusade finished. It was at level 70. I'm gonna say
No,
70.
you'd start at 70 if anything, because you like storyline wise, they've said you start off in the Black Temple, so you are like a mob in Black Temple, you know. So those are like level 73. I think that it would make sense for you to finish out at 90 or 100. Lore wise and storyline wise, it doesn't make sense for you to be 90. Because we don't get Demon Hunters until we go through this Broken Isles, Broken Isles,
Which we are gonna get at level 100.
right? And then, well, for the Death Knights, you came out of the Death Knight starting area. You were level 58, I believe.
Around there,
Around
depending on the
around there.
heirlooms that you got. Yeah.
Do you think it's gonna be
God.
something along those lines, or I don't know?
No, I don't think so.
I'm getting called by people from your Twitch chat, Kyle.
The dog was barking. I'm sorry. I had to close the door.
Did they find you?
They found me.
Yep, they found me.
Yeah,
Oh my goodness.
That'll be annoying. Oh well. C'est la vie.
precisely. All right. So speaking of classes, speaking about people getting excited to play new classes and using their new, very special weapons, let's talk about class orders. This is going to be the new garrison-esque aspect of World of Warcraft. Garrisons were enormously popular in this most recent expansion. Very easy to say it was the most favorited part of everyone's expansion. A lot of people enjoyed that. They added harbors, so they continued to expand upon it. Professions were great. Everyone loved having an army of followers, but now they're making some changes to this. So let's talk about those changes.
That's sarcasm.
Yeah.
It's real. It's totally real.
Personally, I loved the garrison. Screw you guys. That
What
was...
You know what?
Some
All
of it
right.
I like. Some of it
I mean,
really just became
It
dailies.
had its merits. Like there were some cool things, but there were things that were not so bueno.
Yes, and so let's start with the things we did not like about garrisons. Let's start with those.
It was a Facebook game.
Okay, yeah. When it came down to it, very repetitious, very.
I mean,
Well-
you stayed in the same place. The thing that a lot of people are saying is that it over rewarded you,
Mhm.
because you could get the rate above where you're raiding, whereas me, I'm not a raider. I do the LFRs every once in a while, but a little while ago I was full normal, decked out in normal high mall,
Mhm.
and I'm like I didn't set foot in normal high mall. So.
Now, I'm going to go ahead and argue that point. For less serious players who maybe miss a week of raiding every now and then, it's a great catch-up mechanic.
No,
But
it's not.
the thing that was happening though
the
was
missions are
people-
on 2-week cooldowns.
Mm-hmm.
They reward you not playing the game. You just sit there and you send out people to do it for you. It's non-interactive content, and you get all these people who don't actually know the stuff getting the rewards for it. And I think that's stupid. I think that the only way it can be seen as good is because of a larger epidemic in the gameplay culture, whereas it's expected that if you're going to plug into a raid, you have to have items from the raid already. That's silly. I cleared normal high mall in blues.
Yeah, so that definitely... Ooh, Irv, your camera just went out. And he's gone. Right, well, we get to look at this lovely portrait of Irv without all this facial hair while we go on there.
He'll be back.
Yeah, I guess he'll be back. No, but he does bring like a very good point. It is really non-content. It's not something that's very interactive, but that's something that they did mention that they are changing with this. So along with the fewer followers that you're going to be having, it's not just going to be like, all right, you go get me some epic level gear, you go get me some gold, you go get me some garrison resources. There will be rewards with each of the missions that you send out, but you'll send a guy out a mission, he'll come back with whatever reward, and he'll say, by the way, here's this new quest that you can go to this cave, you can kill some stuff, you can get additional rewards. So I think that is a much better way of changing this non-content Facebook game into a let's go explore the world, let's go experience this expansion that they've given us.
Yes, and that's why they failed at the garrisons, is because you sat in your garrison, you sent your guys out and did it, but now it's like, oh, you need to go out into the world and you need to do this yourself.
Exactly.
And I like that aspect of it a lot. Hey, Air's back.
There we go.
I got cut off in the middle of saying something. Basically, garrisons rewarded you not playing the game. It gave you too many rewards, and it wasn't a constructive point of the game, in my opinion, at all.
No, I agree. I got 4 levels, I think, on my mage, and never left it. Just did the dailies, right?
Yep.
Just logged in.
There are people that got to level
everybody out.
100 just sitting in their garrison.
Exactly.
Oh, yeah, no, that's what I was working to, actually. You don't need to leave your house. You just sit there and do that. Then you go on to your next character. And when you got 6, 7 people doing garrisons, right? I mean, that does take a lot of time.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like it's in there. You're in and done in an hour, you know, because you got all your construction that you're doing. I mean, I liked it. I just thought they dumbed it down, right, for people to get higher level and to get gear, right? You don't, like you say, you don't have to go out and earn it. You just gotta click a button.
And I will say, I'm going to mention the garrisons in regard to professions, because professions is like my number 1 or number 2 aspect that I look for in an MMO, or just in any game. I want to be able to make things, I want to farm materials, and previously World of Warcraft has been fantastic at their gathering and producing professions. However, garrisons, while initially I was very excited for the profession buildings, that here's an additional option for me to get more tailoring cloth. Here's more like enchanting crystals that I, as a tailor enchanter, can get herbs, that I can get ores. While it was exciting at first, it just dumbed down the market. It flooded it, and it really lowered the value. There was very little purpose to go farming yourself because the materials were available much cheaper, because all these non-miners were selling ores super cheap on the auction house.
Kyle?
Mm-hmm. Hello?
No, I'm getting massive lights, bro.
Yeah.
On that note, though, I play on multiple servers, and for most of the ones that I've gone, I've even gone to new servers to look, and the economy is absolutely horrible in the auction house. Like, again, I'm not going to go back to the old days, but there was a balance.
No, let's go back to the old days. That's absolutely.
It used to be a nice, I'll say, balance in the game. You know, like, things weren't overly expensive. Yes, you paid for what you wanted. But if you're going to go out and you need light leather and you're paying 20 gold for a stack of light leather,
yeah.
Yes, you can go out and farm it, or 50 gold or 500 gold for that same stack. I mean, yes, you can farm it, but when you're just crafting mode, you just want to get your materials and go. You shouldn't have to empty your piggy bank just so you can get 5 points in, like, whatever you're trying to craft.
Exactly.
The gear, the prices, they're starting to come back down, right, from the last time that I was on. You know, I'm noticing that for Rune Totem, where I play, they are both the Horde and the Alliance. And for us, the Horde came over and ruined it for us. Right? We know it, and they told us they did it.
Yeah.
They came over and just skyrocketed our auction house, and then it got everybody was paying that price.
Yep.
Right? So if we can get some control on that, I think that's a lot of it. Because some people who aren't always earning that money, they don't have the money to buy what they need.
Yep.
Right.
Exactly. And, you know, it's definitely a balance of how much gold do I have versus how much time do I have to play this game. And, you know, when the lower materials are cost, you know, more than double the cost of, you know, the current tier's worth of materials, it's absolutely frustrating.
Well, though in Warlords, you don't need any previous expansions materials to level to 700.
That's true.
Yeah. So that was a great feature that they added in Mist of Pandaria. While Mist of Pandaria didn't have a whole lot of redeeming features, that was absolutely one of them. And they did the same thing with cooking as well, which had previously been a very monotonous profession to level up.
Yeah, so I maxed out my cooking, I maxed out my fishing for the first time ever. I maxed out whatchamacallit.
All right, so the next thing, now that we're back, now that we're live, now that everyone's gone because our stream stopped and no one is loyal except for Joe. But
DDoSing bastards.
DDoSing bastards, right. So, next thing we're going to talk about, the thing that I am most excited for, the thing that has revolutionized, that has brought World of Warcraft to the modern age of MMO gaming, is the new Honor system, Honor 3.0, that will last for the rest of World of Warcraft. It will never change again.
Maybe.
Explain that for me, please, because I didn't get quite that far.
Okay, so this is they took a lot from different PvP style games, not necessarily MMOs. So first off, there's no honor points anymore. There's no currency that you spend because there's no gear. They have mentioned that they want to all but remove PvP gear, or at the very least remove the influence that PvP gear has on PvP. So that means that someone who plays from the start of the season, we're 2 months in, he's got the full Vengeful set, and a new player that comes in, there's no gap between those two. That those two can compete on a skill-based level. Irving, what were you going to say?
On the note of their example they provided was wildly inaccurate from what actually happens. I just got into PvP in this patch on a character that doesn't PvP, and their new system for PvP gear, since there's no PvP stat, it's okay, Ken, is it just scales up. So if you have gear on a character, and my character I think was like 670 item level or something, which is what the old gear scaled to last seasons, you can go in and you can grind out your honor set, and then you'll be at 700 item level in PvP, and then you can grind out the purple set, which is like 730 item level, which I have a decent few pieces of. Like, it's not hard to get the gear anymore. But
It's not terribly hard, you're correct. However,
but they wanted a reason to change it, and then they used a convenient example, which I think will work for most people. But understand, it was an overstatement of the.
It was an overstatement. Now that being said, there was still at points. I, for example, am a good example of the PvPer that they are trying to reach. Is that I will play PvP maybe 2 to 3 times a week. And that's if I have an arena partner, or I'll do a battleground, and I might win, I might lose, I might get my bonus for the day, I might not. So, with that, am I still on my 5-minute delay? There's no way I'm on my 5-minute delay. Oh well, anyway. So, sorry. With that being said, I'm never going to catch up to the PvP gear, just ever. So, it gets frustrating for a player like me, a very casual player, a casual PvPer, that I'm never going to have the full highest tier of PvP gear, so I'm never going to be able to compete with those same stats as another player.
And well, to be more specific, Kyle's talking about Conquest gear right now.
Yeah, sorry, that's the one. I don't PvP. You know.
The downside is the guys who are dedicated PvPers, we're literally getting punished for our hard work. The guys who are always PvPing, and I understand balancing it out to bring the new guys in.
Well, not even. You're going to get cosmetic rewards.
Well, that's what they're going to bring in. But he's absolutely correct that with the current system, or the way that they're changing it, that does come off immediately as so. All those guys that put the time, put the dedication, and along with the gear, they're also building up skill. So it's not just the gear that they have an advantage. These are also very talented players that know how the class balance work. They know how to react to different arena teams. So, to a degree, yes, they are being punished. There's no way around that. But then Irv brings up the point of the cosmetic rewards, where because there is no stat bonuses, there's no way of getting out. What else are you going to do? Well, cosmetic rewards. So, Irv, why don't you tell us about that?
Well, basically, to an extent, you do unlock power as you get to a certain point. You will unlock your PvP talents as you go from like honor level 0 to honor level 50. Once you get to honor level 50, there is an option to prestige, and I think it might even be called prestige in this model too.
Yes.
Where you start off at the lowest honor level, you lose all of your bonuses, I think, and then you have to earn them again. And then once you get to that second prestige level, you might get like a unique boot transmog. Who knows?
Yes.
What it might be. I know eventually you'll get a mount, which I want.
Yes. You'll also get transmog for your legend or your weapons, your artifact weapons.
Yeah, your artifact weapon will also get a model unlock, which is awesome.
And from what it showed us, with going back to the artifact weapons briefly, they showed about 5 different versions of each artifact weapon. So that leads me to believe that that's all that we're going to get at the very beginning is just 5 different variations.
And then they each have different colorations too.
Yeah, so you add that and then you get tons of different options. But as far as like base model goes, there's going to be 5 for each one. One of the 5 is only obtainable through PvP. And who knows, I'm sure one will be through raiding, one through questing, one through maybe your hero.
One from your garrison.
Yeah, from your garrison, exactly.
Just sitting
So
in your garrison for 2 months, and here you go.
yeah.
Well, there's not really a garrison
Class
anymore.
halls.
The guild
class hall.
halls or
Yeah.
class halls, excuse me,
Yeah.
are like the evolution of the garrison. But it seems like they've taken in accounts what players thought of the garrison to do that. There's not going to be an army of followers. There's going to be a few followers. There's going to be more interactions. Like, say these followers, they go and find a place for you to go to, and then you go on a mission with your followers. It might be like a scenario. That's what I hope.
Yes.
But we don't know a whole lot of information yet. We just know that it's not going to be sit here and click your Facebook game, which is good. And then also, it's not a single player instance. It's going to be all the players of your class. So,
which I'm gonna make a point on that real quick. I think that was because of the Date 1 problems with Garrison. Because they had thousands of players logging on, creating thousands of Garrison instances, just destroying their servers. And, like, people were stuck in their Garrison, but they couldn't get in. And, surprise, Garrison was a big factor in progressing the storyline. Like, you couldn't get new quests until you could get into your Garrison. It was a mess. So I'm going to go ahead and say that's a good thing. And it's not necessarily related to story or content, but practicality.
well, I mean, instead of creating a million instances of something, they're creating 12 instances.
Precisely.
Which is great.
Yeah.
But also, you're not going to be there all the time. You're going to be there, maybe, like, that'll be your daily hub for your class and your class story. But Dalaran is the new capital city. It'll be obviously it's going to be a multi-faction, like both faction capital city. It's a neutral city. That's going to be awesome again. I'm gonna love seeing, whatever Horde players are on Sargeras just chilling.
Yep.
So.
Oh yeah. And speaking of class story, can we talk about spec-specific quest lines?
Let's talk about that.
That's the weapons, the artifact weapons.
Right. But I mean, that's something that everyone's been whining about for a while. Is like, well, what about class-specific quests? What about class-specific quests? And it's like, well, how about this? How about spec-specific quests? And I'm pretty.
That's
excited
even
about
better, because
great.
that means
that just means I get 3 class quests, which is great.
Exactly. I mean, and it's just, I don't know. I think it'll also help build the skill base of the players, because like you have these three class quests to go on, or these three spec quests to go on, 2 if you're a demon hunter. But you'll be able to learn the different abilities and the different like ways to play your class. And I think it's just gonna.
Maybe.
Now, Steven, because you played back in Vanilla, there used to be quite a few class-specific quests back in the day, and even into Burning Crusade.
Even into Wrath.
Yeah, into Wrath.
Like,
I would agree.
I can't remember why they took those out exactly.
With the remodel of Azeroth.
Yeah, a lot of people were skipping, and they just wanted to get away from those, right? They realized there was a bit of a. I'm gonna say they thought there was something wrong with Wrath. That's where like Kata and all those, how they wanted to change everything about not everything about the game, but they wanted to make a lot of changes, and they used Kata as the best basis to do it.
Yep.
So I mean, they just split it. The first 3, a lot of us really loved, and the later ones, the older players, well, it's not what I wanted anymore, right? But everything evolves, everything changes. Some people want to stay in their safe little igloo, and from Canada we call them igloos, not houses.
Yeah.
They want to stay in their safe little place. There, nothing can change, right?
Yes.
And I love a lot of the changes that Blizzard does, and I, especially for Warcraft, I criticize way less than I enjoy. Right? I mean, it's new, it's different. Find a way to make it work for you.
And I think that attitude that you just mentioned, that you criticize less than you enjoy, is exactly what Blizzard aimed for, and I think that's exactly why World of Warcraft, after 10, almost 11 years, is still bursting with millions and millions of players.
What are they at? 7 million? About?
Irv, you look a little skeptical on that one.
5 million of players.
I think that you're like a little over the top with it. I think it's doing well. It's doing better than the other MMOs out there. I do think there are some problems with it, and I think they're trying to respond to those problems. Obviously, they've put in what response they can into this expansion, but you got to remember, this has been in development since Warlords was in development. It has been worked on for quite some time, and it's not totally fan service. Like, people will be like, oh my god, Demon Hunters have been asked for since Burning Crusade. It must be fan service to return subs.
Yep.
It's not. It's been planned way before the sub numbers went to 5.1 million or whatever it is now. It's been in the cards, and I think that they're just going through the motions. You can see that Warlords was a filler thing, and evidently some things didn't work out. There was a lack of content to people, and they want to fix that, and they want to, I guess, go away from that. They probably won't do another 1-year expansion because it's left a pretty bad taste in people's mouths. And if I'm wrong, might leave more of a bad taste in people's mouths.
Absolutely.
I hope I'm not wrong.
I don't think
But
you're.
how I viewed Warlords of Draenor was the quality of life expansion. We got all these improvements. You know, the questing got upgraded and everything. We got a lot of quality of life improvements, and now this is like the real content expansion.
Yes, exactly.
We're getting right now.
I will say, let's talk about leveling areas real quick, because we're going to be getting a new expansion. We're going to be going through quests for the first time. Now, Warlords of Draenor was very interactive in the way that they handled their starting zones and just progressing through the world. You got to meet all the big players. Burning Crusade, for example, as much as we love it, Illidan sat in the Black Temple, and we very rarely saw him, if at all. Most players that didn't progress all the way through the storyline definitely would not have seen him until they got to the raid themselves. They changed that with the most recent expansions, and especially this one. You're fighting next to Durotar. You are seeing Blackhand in his keep, and he's yelling and swearing at you. You know, Blade Fist is throwing you in an arena. Like, this is very exciting. We get to see the movers and the shakers in this lore. So, looking forward to this new expansion, obviously a bunch of big players. They specify Anduin has grown up. They've changed his character model. We can look forward to him doing a lot of things, fighting with the Alliance and with the Horde, as he likes to do at times.
Yeah. Actually, there's little blurbs on their website, and you might want to link the website in the description. But heir to the throne of Stormwind, Anduin is wise beyond his years. Time and again, he has used diplomacy to end conflict, inspiring even his warrior father to lay down arms in pursuit of peace. But diplomacy has its limits, and some villains just can't be reasoned with. As the Burning Legion threatens to annihilate Azeroth, Anduin will learn the true cost of peace, and whether he's willing to pay for it. So, that's their blurb for Anduin, that's their blurb of what's to come, and he's gonna have to do some shit. Like, he's gonna be in charge of stuff,
Yeah.
and it's gonna be interesting. If you look at his model, I think he looks vaguely Admiral-like. He looks like someone who'd be, if he had a hat.
Yeah. You know, there's two sentences in that concern me. First, okay, everyone knows who Anduin Wrynn is. Everyone knows he's the Crown Prince of Stormwind, okay? They took, out of the small paragraph, out of the, like, 6 sentences they put in there, they took one of them to mention that he is the heir to Stormwind, okay? They didn't say Crown Prince. They didn't say, you know, there's lots of ways to term royalty. There's lots of ways to mention it. But heir indicates succession, meaning when his dad dies, the heir takes over, okay? When his dad dies. All right, that's what worries me.
That and Varian, he's not even on this list of major players.
Exactly, yeah.
Heroes and villains
Thrall isn't on there either,
divided.
which is a concern.
Nope. Gen is on here, Gen Greymane, who's the leader of the Worgen. He got a nice updated model.
Yeah.
I want his coat. I really want his coat.
That is a great coat.
And then there's some other people on there. Maeve Shadowsong, who was the warden after Illidan.
Oh yeah, if Illidan's going to be around, you can bet your sweet Bippy that Maeve will be there too.
Yep. There's Xavius, who was like the first of the satyrs and was the corruptor of the Emerald Dream.
Let's talk about him real quick.
Look like a satyr anymore.
No, I was about to say he looks very Shaw, doesn't he?
Okay, so I think it actually looks very tree-like, and I think it's a reference to his corrupting of the Emerald Dream, since that's the nature-y world, and in the novel Stormrage, part of his aspect was a corrupted tree, so I think that's why he looks the way he does.
That's a good counterpoint. Because that was my concern. The old gods and the Burning Legion really have no relation. So
yeah, it's mentioned that the old gods, if they wanted, could wipe Sargeras off the map with the flick of their thumb. But,
so they claim. But that remains yet to be seen.
Yeah, and I think that's actually going to be our next lead-in, is we are going to have this Legion-focused expansion here, but either we're going to deal with Sargeras, or the next expansion will, and then there's still the old gods on Azeroth, and Ashara, Xavius, those are all really, they have integral ties to the old gods.
Yes.
So it'd be interesting to see what happens with them. There's also Ashara's new right-hand woman as a major player, so we're probably going to have to deal with her in the dungeon Eye of Ashara, which is a clever reference to the League.
That was one of my favorite parts of the whole thing. They go out of their way to trademark the Eye of Ashara, all right?
They didn't actually trademark it, Kyle. That was someone else.
Did they not?
Yeah,
They did not
they've
actually
got a lot
trademark
of-
that.
Who trademarked Eye of Azara?
Some jacket. They deleted the trademark, Kyle. They did it just to like stir up pipe.
Yeah.
It's,
And
it's
then,
just an
so
internet
Blizzard
troll.
decided
A red
to
herring.
co-op their
Yeah.
their
That's funny.
title just to, I guess, like make
I
a
gotcha.
joke.
Okay, that makes sense. That's really funny though.
There's this zone villain of High Mountain, this Dark Rule, the Underking. So he's gonna probably give story to this new, like, buff Grummel type race.
Mm-hmm. But he's short. He's very dwarf-esque.
Yeah.
No, okay. Well, in that he's short and stout and strong, rather than
Yeah, he's interesting looking. We'll
Yeah.
see where he leads. I mean, like, that's like there's a few unrelated storylines here that I feel like will give them a lot of opportunity to move throughout multiple patches and extend the lifetime of this expansion.
And I'm also going to point out, let's talk about George R. R. Martin real quick and his Game of Thrones. Okay, so typically World of Warcraft, Thrall's been in every expansion. There's been, Malfurion's been in every expansion. There's been these big hitters that show up every time, over and over again, and they just keep coming back. Same with the villains. Villains don't stay dead. It's not really in World of Warcraft's agenda to leave people, especially big important people, dead. Now, that could change very, very quickly, especially with the premise that we are picking up the Ashbringer from a battlefield. That
Where it had
Thrall,
fallen. Yeah.
yeah, Thrall. Even when he gave up the mantle of War Chief, he retained the Doomhammer. So
And his armor, which he incorporated into his Warlord's model.
exactly. So I'm concerned that we are going to lose some very dear and precious characters in this expansion.
Yeah,
There's going to be some really good cutscenes to watch.
That is exactly correct.
Oh yeah.
bomb cutscenes.
That is exactly correct.
And I want to see more of like what artifacts we do get, because there was they mentioned the shards of Frostmourne,
Mhm.
which will be the Frost Death Knight dual wielded weapons. They mentioned a spear, which will be survival hunters, so melee hunters incoming again. Raptor strike
Yeah, I don't know what that's all about. I think
I
it was.
hope,
I almost thought it was a joke. It was like a vanilla WoW reference joke,
I don't know. It'd be. I want to see what they're going to do with it. They're definitely going to answer stuff like that in the Q&A on Sunday because everyone's talking about it.
Yep.
Ashbringer, of course, is like their big one. There's the Doomhammer for enhancement shamans. There's druids get updated forms, which
That was the funniest part of the whole gosh dang presentation.
it was
When they showed 3 identical cat druid forms, and that's always been ever since I believe Wrath of the Lich King was the first. No, I guess in vanilla the staff, the mage staff. Could druids use that staff? The legendary, but yeah, Akish.
there was a version of Atish that druids could use.
Yeah, so ever since
whatever.
vanilla, they've had these legendary weapons that don't show up because they're in boomkin form or they're in bear form. So this solves that completely, and I absolutely love Blizzard for it.
Yeah. But no, like there's all these different things for the different specs, and we've seen quite a few, but like we haven't seen any warrior ones, we haven't seen any rogue ones, whereas we've seen 2 DK ones, we've seen 2 mage ones, we've seen the sword, Fellow Malorn, and Ebon Chill, Great Staff of Elodie, which is a great lore item.
Yes, I was actually excited. I mentioned to you, I was concerned. I was like, man, frost mages are going to get some made-up, stupid, nothing item.
No, dude.
But this is the staff of the first guardian of Tristful.
The first guardian.
Yes!
That's awesome.
That's exciting! That's brilliant! Very
Probably the
excited.
mage, just so everyone knows.
Yes, I am the resident mage. So we will. So overall, I think we're going to see a lot of exciting updates from this encounter. I think it's going to feel like Burning Crusade, and I think it's going to be a throwback. We're getting a hero class just like Wrath of the Lich King. People loved going back through the Dark Portal, despite all the problems that that occurred with this most recent expansion. People still love seeing Ogrim Doomhammer. People still loved fighting aside Durotan. And so I think bringing back bringing back Illidan, going back to Outland is, or actually no, we're not even going back to Outland. The Burning Legion is coming to us. So I'm just excited. I'm beyond words right here.
Look forward to it.
It's gonna be great. Yeah.
Fantastic. So
Have they announced the release date for it?
no, they have not
No.
announced a release date.
They
so.
have said beta later this year.
Yep.
Of course,
Okay.
they
And
did
then-
say beta late last year or early this year for Overwatch. So be wary of
no,
that.
they said fall for beta.
Soon.
For
Well, no,
Overwatch.
no.
That's
Originally, when they announced
Yeah,
Overwatch, they
and
said beta
at BlizzCon.
next spring, and then they moved it to
Oh.
fall. So
We'll see
be
how that
wary
goes.
of betas and Blizzard soon.
Exactly.
It'll come eventually.
Exactly.
Yeah, well, I mean, they know that Warlords won't last too long now, but it's interesting to see for
Yeah,
sure.
so-
And they said we'll get more soon, which leads me to believe we'll get a cinematic before BlizzCon.
Yes. Very much
Yeah.
looking forward to that. So
Sunday cinematic.
Sunday, yeah, we'll keep an eye on Sunday, and we will definitely be back after that announcement to talk more about this. So thank you everyone for tuning
Q&A
in.
Follow-up will be
We'll do a
great.
Q&A follow-up. We'll talk about all the exciting things. We'll get loud and excited and be nerds together. So this has been a Progression Gamers podcast. Thank you everyone for tuning in, and we will see you next time.
Cheers.
See ya.
See ya.
Oh, I forgot my sign-off music. Darn it.
So much success and then that.